Hi, this is Scott Valentine. I was recently asked how I would accomplish this perspective text effect entirely in Photoshop. In Illustrator or InDesign, you could do this entirely with vector text, but Photoshop presents some challenges that I'll show you right now. So in order to start this effect, I put all of my type on individual layers. So every word gets its own type layer, and originally everything was just in Arial. So I just put everything out, I positioned the words in the order that I wanted, and then I went through the process of assigning different font faces and weights to each of the fonts, or each of the words. So for example, courage here, let me get my type tool, is Atzosens Uber, but drive is just something as simple as Arial. In order to make things simpler for choosing the fonts, I filtered by sans serif, and then I just kind of experimented to see what would work. Once I got that roughly in place, then I went through each word and I used Command T to transform it. I did that both in the horizontal and vertical directions so that I could get everything to fit properly into this box. And persistence, of course, was rotated and scaled so it would fit on the edge. Now, if I try and select everything here and hit Command T, the only options I get are visible here with holding down the Control key and tapping. I get free transform, scale, rotate, and skew. Distort, perspective, and warp are all not available because this is live type. So, to solve the problem, I'll turn off the background layer. Oh, let me escape out of that. Turn off the background layer, create a new blank layer at the top, and hit Command-Shift-Option-E, which is Stamp Merge Visible. And then I'll turn off my type layers so you can see that now I've got a raster version of this. Now, if I hit Command T and hold down the Control button, I've got perspective and warp available and distort. So I'm going to use perspective here. Now this will be the spine side, so I'm going to drag this side down a little bit. There we go. You can see the distortion. And I'm going to hit Enter and then Command T again to make it a little bit shorter. The reason for that is if I switch in between, if I hold down Control, you can see that I can go between these different warps. It will apply the warp, it will apply the other transforms on top, and I might not get everything as even as I'd like. All right, hit Enter, Command T again, and Control, and this time I'm going to choose Skew, and I'm going to bring it down so that the knowledge, the bottom of it is horizontal. There we go. Now I've got to do the other side. I want perspective on the same area, so I'm going to have to turn this off and move perspective to the other side. I'll just drag it straight across, nudge it a little bit. There we go. Now I'll close the group, create a new blank layer, and repeat my Stamp Merge Visible. Turn off the type layer, and now I'll move everything to the side here and line it up. There we go. That looks pretty good. Same thing. Transform, Control, and choose Perspective. And this time I'm going to drag down. There we go. And I'll choose Control again and choose Skew. That way I can drop it down to this edge. That looks good right there. And Enter, and then Command T one more time, and I'll shorten this side up. There we go. Now, we can merge these two layers together by holding Shift, and then Command E, and I'm going to duplicate it, Command J, and with that duplicate selected, I'll do a transform, flip vertical, and then I can drag it straight down, and that will become our reflection. So that one's still selected. I'll go to Filter, Blur Gallery, Tilt Shift. That looks pretty good. Select Enter to commit it. Now we can lower the opacity, turn on my background layer, and now I'll add a mask finally with a gradient to kind of get it to fade out. There. And that's all there is to it. So to briefly recap, I just placed the words individually adjusted their font face, their transforms, and then I created a rasterized version by stamping Merge Visible, repeated that with the other side, and from there on, seems pretty straightforward. All right, so I hope you found this useful, and thanks for listening.